So let's get started with there is called social media content creation and posting automation, right? Now that had actually when you saw we were doing it with the help of a platform called ChatGPT, and ChatGPT used to give us all these images as well as content, right? One of the really good use case which many people are selling to businesses, and not this kind of basic version, a little advanced version of this, right? And everyone would want to have these media presence, right? You would have all seen this Google Sheet where we put some requirement over here. Then we have Facebook post, Instagram post, LinkedIn post, content comes out here, image link. And then finally, there is a control column which says, do you want to generate content? Ready for review, approve, create, and then posting done and working on it, right? Essentially, the core idea is if we have any content or any posting requirement for our social media channels, which include primary three things, which we're going to cover now, plus we'll add a couple of more in terms of Pinterest or YouTube or something else later on in the next week. We wanted to create post on Facebook pages, on Instagram business account, and LinkedIn support both with API personal account as well as your business pages or company pages, right? So in case if you want to create any post on these platforms, then this automation is going to ask you, give me an idea in column one, in column A over here, which says my posting idea. It can be anything, right? You can just put one line or you can put like one whole paragraph. It can be anything like that, right? And from there, it will take this idea to Google Gemini, first of all, to create content for these three platforms, right? Second is it is going to create an image according to this idea, plus the prompt that we're going to give. And then once everything is ready, it will ask us, do you want to approve this? Shall we take it ahead and post it everywhere on the social medias? I'll say yes. And then the whole thing will be distributed across these three platforms, right? Now, how to control the distribution? So essentially, I have put in a control column over here where I say, if I wanted to generate content for a particular idea, let's say I can make 10 entries over here. This is how I made it, right? So I can have 10, 20, 30 entries over here, but I don't want to process them all together at a one go. So what I said, wherever I select generate content, then only it should pick that particular row, that particular line. And if you remember, yesterday when we configured this Google Sheets filter module, let's say the search module, we had a filter option. So now we can always put a filter. We say if column F status is equal to generate content, then only pick that particular line. Otherwise, leave everything blank. Like whatever is not there, just don't consider them at all, right? So anything is blank, anything which has any other status will be completely ignored, right? Once content generation is done, the system should automatically update status that it is ready for review, right? So I know that content generation was already done and now it is like waiting for my review. Then once I review, I'll tell it again, approved, and go ahead and create a post. Where to create post? Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. Why there are three columns? Simple reason. These are content of that particular post, right? So let's say Facebook has a different content structure. Instagram is more kind of a casual, more funny platform. So it'll be more, let's say, emojis or those kind of short content. And in case of LinkedIn, it's going to be a little more professional because people not just look at your visual, they also read what is being written on the post itself, right? So that's why we categorize this content part, the textual part, into three things. But for the image, we said, I just want a single image, which I'm going to post across all of these platforms. And later on, we are also going to do a little more advanced things where we'll say, not just the image part, we are going to generate videos as well, right? So these videos are going to be posted on maybe all of these platforms as well as on YouTube altogether, right? So that's the idea. Now, there is a run automation button that I'll come to this later on, but essentially we can start building the basic flow, and step by step, I'm going to explain you how to do each of these configuration. First, let me quickly try to showcase you what all components or what all steps. I'll just make you revisit this whole thing. So first step is we are going to add ideas into our Google Sheet, right? I hope you are clear with this. The second step, once we do, we are going to send this content to Gemini for for the content generation. Now, since we have only this idea thing over here, we'll have to give it some sort of a prompt as well, right? So you have all seen like I have a well-structured prompt where I say, write me post in Alex Hermosi style and so on. So this is our prompt where I say, you are a professional social media content creator who specialize in creating platform optimized content for three platforms, Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. There is a good guy called Alex Hermosi. So he has some frameworks, he has some sort of marketing tactics. So I asked my system, first of all, when I was generating this prompt, that use his engagement and conversion techniques. I'm going to provide you a topic idea, and you have to create a unique platform specific content for each of these platforms as per the best practice. See, this is all part of the prompt only. We haven't given our thought yet, the idea yet, right? Then I said, Alex Hermosi writing principle to apply. It should be like lead with value, use pattern to interrupt, and so on. Then I said proven hook formulas are going to be these ones. So let's say everyone says X, here is the Y, how it works, and so on. So some sort of a disruption, some sort of a thought variation. And this what provoke people to read something, right? Then I said platform specific requirements are, in case of Facebook, should be engaging, conversational, sharing part, 1 to 2 emojis maximum, and 150 words max, right? Instagram, keep it under 100 words, 3 to 5 emojis, and relevant hashtags, save this post, and so kind of CTAs. LinkedIn, it should be 200 words, 1 to 2 emojis, business focus, professional tone, and maybe even put some sort of paragraphs or bullet points. So that's how it is going to give me a well structured content on each of these three things, right? Then I said, give me response into a JSON format. Now, if you remember yesterday, I told you why JSON? Because I can clearly define each of these output in a individually mappable values. So when I say, give me this kind of a JSON output, JSON starts with a curly brace, right? And here I said the key is Facebook post content, and the value I left blank. Blank means, see, these are two quotes, but there is no value between them, right? I can put it like this only. So value are going to be generated by this AI system, Gemini itself, because I don't have any Facebook content to put here. What I have is to define a key. So Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. These three different content pieces I want, right? And then each of them should come as a separate value. And now once they come separate value, I can easily map them to the next modules, right? So wherever Facebook content has to go into this column, I can map specifically Facebook content over here, Instagram over here, LinkedIn over here, and so on, right? Now, once that is done, what I said, guideline about these platforms, a couple of other things should be valid JSON. And at last, I said, here is the content idea for my post or for the whole text you're going to generate. And what I'm going to map is the content idea that is coming from my Google Sheet, right? So this will become my input or the mapping part. And this whole thing is working as a prompt. Same way, since we wanted to generate an image using this Nano Banana or those kind of tools, maybe it can be DALI 3 or something else, we have to give it a clear guideline, right? So here I said, in case of this image generation tool, it can be any AI. It can be Midjourney, it can be Runway, it can be this Nano Banana, and so on. So here I said, generate high converting, scroll stopping square image, which is 1080 pixels, right, for social media. Then I said couple of visual psychology engagement. So these three things, like apply 3 second rule, because when people are scrolling, they would mind to see an image, and within couple of seconds they can keep on moving to their next feed, right? So it's important image should be good enough to stop them or that particular area. Use visual hierarchy, some sort of things. Again, this was whole stuff generated by Claude, because I can't write this much from my own brain, right? I don't know what are the best practices happening on the internet about this image part. So what I generally do is I go to Claude, I say I want to generate a prompt for a particular activity, and here are my requirement. Plus, you can follow best practices to generate this prompt and to get the best output from this whole system, right? So that's what I do generally, and these kind of detailed prompts I get generated right from AI itself. I don't have to write them, but this is fairly good. Obviously, I have to read and confirm that yes, this contains everything what I wanted. If yes, then I can use them straight up. Now, design framework should be this, color strategy should be this, like 2 to 3 primary colors are going to be there. Balance professional appeal with vibrant energy, technical specification, style options, and so on. Cross-platform optimization, text hierarchy, how this should be written. So primary hook should be the largest text, most compelling message part. Then there is supporting text, and there is a call to action, right? And then there's a quality check also mentioned over here. So while AI generate this image, all of these things should be checked back by this AI itself. And then finally here I said, this is my content idea on which I want to generate this image, right? So that's how we are going to give everything to Gemini for the content generation and to Nano Banana for the image generation, right? Now, in case of this whole content, whatever being generated by AI, I want to put everything back over here into my Google Sheet. Why so? Because as I said, I don't want AI to directly post this content on my social media. I want to have a human review in middle, right? You could do a different choice altogether. It's upon you, right? So in case if you're a client or you want, I rely on AI 100%. Whatever I do here, I simply say run automation and it can go ahead and post across all the social media channels. That can be a choice, right? You can do that. But in case if you don't want, you can simply get all the contents over here. So essentially, we'll have to update this content back into Google Sheet for our review, right? Same way, where this image is going to go. So let me tell you something. See, when you generate any image with an AI tool, be it ChatGPT, Claude, or maybe Gemini or something, when you generate image, that image is going to stay on their server not more than 1 hour or 2 hours time, right? Because they have their own limited server capacity, and many people are generating different kind of image or visuals or some sort of media, and media generally takes a lot space on their own server. So what they do, they give you either that image file or the image link, and that image is bound to expire within 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours time, or maximum within 1 day's time. So if you try to map that image link which is generated by the platform, then you have to use it within the given time or make your post. Otherwise, it will going to lapse, or let's say it will going to be deleted from that platform, from their server, and you will not be able to use it. Your automation is going to give you errors, right? So in that case, what we need is our own cloud, maybe some sort of cloud storage where we can upload this image, like how we put content over here. In the same way, we have to upload that image somewhere because we can't upload images inside Google Sheets, right? So that's why this cloud storage would require to keep our images with ourselves, and then we can use them whenever we want to create this post. Now, there are two ways to let's say handle this cloud storage part. One is you can have any cloud storage like Google Drive. So simply go on Drive and you can point it. I can create a folder, upload everything over here. But there is a limitation with this drive itself. So for example, if I have this image and then I say share it with someone, now this sharing has certain control. What it says, it can be like restricted, or anyone with the link can view this, can edit this, or can do comments. There is no direct option for download, right? So for example, even if I say this image should be viewed by someone, in case of most of these other application, be it Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, they can't fetch an image right from Google Drive because it has only view right. There is no download right as such. Like even if I share you this one, it can open on your browser. You still have to click on download and then it'll going to download on your system, right? So that thing cannot be done with these platforms. And they say we want something better than this. We don't want Google Drive link. And most of the time, some platform reject that Google Drive link does not work in case of image sharing or in case of image sharing through APIs. So in that case, what we can use is there is a good platform called ImageKit. I mentioned that name over there, so don't worry about it. But yeah, essentially something which we generally work as a team, as a company, and we suggest to our clients is called ImageKit. It can host or hold any of your images, videos, or something else, and it can give you a publicly shareable link or publicly downloadable link. So if you share a link from ImageKit, any platform, any other API can easily download stuff from there. There is no restriction put in as such, right? It's only thing like you should have that link properly given to them. Now it got a couple of plans. So by default, it has something called free forever $0 plan. And this is more than good, which gives you 3 GB of storage, 20 GB of bandwidth, and like 500 units of video can be put in there and so on. So ImageKit can be a good platform. It's called imagekit.io. I'm going to include link within the slides. You can always go and even refer to your clients to store anything on ImageKit. And even this got a native integration within make.com as well, right? So a good way to sharing. Otherwise, you can just try to find out alternative to ImageKit, and then you can get plenty of other options which may have free plans as well. Now, once we do both the content updates on Google Sheet, the textual part, on ImageKit, the image or media part, we are going to put this media link into our Google Sheet so we can view like what kind of image is coming out from there. Then we say we are going to approve this whole post. So let's say once we start, we'll do generate content. Once the content and image is generated, it is going to change status on that particular sequence, say that ready for review. Like once content is coming in here, we'll say ready for review. We can review it and then we'll say, okay, it is approved. Go ahead and create the post. And as soon as we do approve, create a post, it will go populate that post on 3 platforms, Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, and we'll come back to this Google Sheet and we'll say posting is done, right? So this is the whole automation sequence that we are going to build. So we are into this new scenario fairly straight. We got it from the top left, sorry, top right. It's called create scenario. And we are into this kind of a screen. We can fairly easy search the Google Sheets, right? Go at the top and we got a couple of things. Now over here, what we have is watch new raw. This is not a right trigger for us because we don't want to run the automation or consider these lines as soon as they added into the Google Sheet, right? Because when we say generate content, then only they should be considered inside our automation, not when we add it. So maybe I can add 10 more things over here, but I don't want to process them all together at once, or maybe as soon as I run the next time. So what I say, watch Nero is not the right one for me. I can schedule it maybe 10 a.m. every day, every 1 hour, every 2 hour, and it is going to search the relevant lines and process them. So the right module for us to start this is called search raw. So let's do this one, right? We can add new connection or the connection which we created yesterday. It can be both the same. So I can go ahead, do this connection. It's asking me to reauthorize. I'll just go ahead and reauthorize this. Continue, continue, and it is done. So it's not going to create a new connection. Sometime if there are some permission mismatch or something, it may ask me to reauthorize connections, right? Now here I have to look out for spreadsheet. So spreadsheet name is something called Master Social Media Automation Content and Posting version 1, right? So I can simply choose this, and over here it got me a long list of everything. So I'll say just type a name Master Social Media Automation and it get me this particular selection, right? So I got this selection out over here. Now it is asking me, does your Google Sheet has multiple sheets or single sheet? I got only one single, but still I have to give it a selection. So I said inside this main file or a spreadsheet, I got a sheet called social master log, something like this, right? You can name it anything else. Then it is asking me, does table has headers? I said yes, because my table got headers over here, which says Facebook content, Instagram, LinkedIn post content, and so on. So this is not the content to process. These are actually headers. And if I say these are headers, it's not going to consider this first line. So simply headers is on. Column range by default is more than good. 100 columns are already covered. And in this case, now it says filter. What do you want to get from this Google Sheet? So what I say, as soon as I click on filters, where I can apply filters on all of these columns. Even though, let's say, if you're going and creating any Google Sheet, you would all, if you apply filters, the filters generally come here, right? Edit column, filter column, and so on. So same way, when we get into make, it says which column you want to filter. I said I want to filter column F, where the status is equal to generate content. So if any of my Google Sheet lines have generate content, then those lines will come out. And why we are doing this? Because when next time the automation is going to run, it will grab all my generate content requirements. So let's say I say I want to generate content for these 3 ideas, idea 1, idea 2, and idea 3, right? In total 3. Now, what I expect from this automation, next time when it runs, it should run content generation for these 3 things, not anything else, right? I hope that's clear, right? Not too complex to understand. So it is fairly like I just gave it a command. Whenever you do this job next time, please consider these 3 ideas to run and generate content. So that's what we configured as a base of our, let's say, Google Sheet module. Now you can also apply some limit. Maybe I can say 3 ideas to generate content, but I may put just limit 1. So what will do? Whenever next time it runs, it's going to run only one single line with whatever comes at the top, right? But not to confuse, let's remove it and let's click save. See, still there is showing a red dot. And if you try to run this, it will fail because it says value must not be empty. There is no issues as such. It is some sort of a small bug inside make.com. So if you click on again and save it one more time, this is gone, right? So these kind of small things which just confuse you, nothing to do with the actual stuff, right? Now if I click on run once, let's see what happens. See, based on our filter condition, which is over here, column F is equal to generate content, it gave me 3 output. Output number 1, like bundle 1, bundle 2, bundle 3. And why these are called bundles? Like these are specific raw which are coming out from my Google Sheets, right? So as a bundle 1, I got the whole content idea over here. Column B, C, D, E are empty. Column F has generate content as a status. Then Another one, which see, even it mentioned that raw number 2. So all of these details about this particular raw, this particular line are being posted or put in the output over here by make. So column values along with this raw number, spreadsheet ID, the sheet name, even how many bundles came out from this. Bundles means like how many outputs came out from this particular operation. Total 3 output. And what is the position of this output is position number 1. So raw number 2 is the first output in this entire thing. Then raw number 3 is there. Then raw number 4 is there, right? So this is how make give you all the data which is essential or which is available inside your software. So you can grab it here and further more modules can use it. Now let's reduce this. We don't want to run 3 ideas altogether for now. I'll just remove these two. Only one thing is there. Otherwise, entire Google Sheet you can see everything is blank. So let's try to rerun. By the way, you may not have to click this run once. You can just do Control Enter or Command Enter, and then it can run directly from your keyboard as well. Kind of a shortcut, which I generally use. Now this time it got only one single idea, which is raw number 2, because we kept only raw number 2 as generate content, right? Now, once we get in here, we wanted to give this entire thing into Gemini, right? So I click on this and I'll say, earlier we used to do ChatGPT, but this time I'll say I wanted to go with Gemini. And here we are, Google Gemini AI, right? So let's click on this. And then there are a couple of things: create a completion, create an image, create a video, extract data structure, and so on, make an API call, and even upload a file. So for us, what we want is create a completion, because we wanted to first generate the contents from our main idea and the prompt. Content for 3 platforms: Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn. So if I go back, I say create completion, and here you can add a new connection. So you click on this add connection. I can give it a name of 7th September. API key I already gave you. So let's pick it from there. Gemini API key, it's here. And then I can click save. See, the connection is done. So essentially what we did, first of all, we did Google Sheets. We mapped everything from the top and we say control column F is equal to generate content. Only give me those output which are having generate content as the status. Second, we are going to do content generation using Gemini. Okay, one more thing what you can do is always as a best practice, see by default these things are coming as their own tag, like the module names. What I can do is right click on each of these modules and I'll say rename. So I'll say idea store, right? Or let's say idea input. This sheet is going to give me ideas inputs. Now what this will do, generate post content, right? Now here in this case, I chose Gemini. I created a connection. I clicked add. The API key is there. And then I'm going to choose the AI model. Which AI model I want to work with? Since all of these different AI got various models as per their capabilities and so on, I can choose any one of them. Let's say I'll go with the first one, which is called Gemini 1.5 Pro latest. Right? Now, once I do this, we can go with messages. And when we say create a completion, that means we are going to give it an instruction, some sort of a chat prompt, and it is going to reply us those output, right? So here I have to choose, should I treat it as user or model? I'll go with user. I'm considering Gemini as the other user who's talking to me and will complete things based on my instructions, right? Then it says parts. Parts means like what input I wanted to give it to this Gemini model. So I'll say, I want to give you a text, and the text is my prompt. So first of all, here is my prompt for this entire content generation. So I'll say, you're a professional social media content creator. I'll copy this entire prompt right from top to bottom until this point. Copy, take it back to this thing and paste. See, fairly straight. We set up this model. We chose which AI model we want to work with. We chose role. Role is nothing, like, don't get confused. It can be by default always user. It's all fine, right? Then we say we are going to give it a text. So there are 2 options, text and file. We are just going to give it as a text prompt. And this is our entire prompt that we stored in our Google Sheet. Since it is a static prompt, we also have to give it the idea, the actual requirement of image generation, right? So as soon as I click on this, I get to see mappings from my Google Sheet. See column A, B, C, D, E, F, right? In my Google Sheet, the post idea is stored inside column A. So I can drag and drop it over here this way, right? So now I got the prompt and I got my content idea, which is mapped over here dynamically. So in this case, Now, if anything gets changed, let's say if I'm going to process raw number 4, 5, 6, 7, they all may have different content ideas and they all will get mapped over here like this. So I don't have to remap this again and again. I just said whatever comes in column A, you should get and use inside Gemini, right? Now, along with this, there are a couple of more things given over here. System instruction, we don't want to give. URL context, no need. Search grounding, in case if you want this model to go and real time do internet search for your, let's say for your response, you can do that as well. But we don't want that. Since we have a static idea, it's all fine. Code execution is not required. Then it's asking us response modalities, what we want in response. Is it a text or image? So we want a simple text, but we can leave it blank. We don't want an image or something, so no need to mention that. Then max output token, temperature, top probability, you can just leave everything blank. It's, I think, not essential at all. What we want over here is, it says response meme type. Meme type is like response content type or response format type. In this case, we should choose, we wanted to get output in a JSON format, right? Why JSON? Because if we get something in JSON, then we will be able to map it like this. For example, see here, if I click on this, all of these things in a Google Sheet were coming into a JSON format. And because of that JSON format, it could render the JSON and now these values becomes mappable. Imagine if they were all coming as a paragraph, like column A, then there is a text written. Next to it, column B, there is a text written. In those cases, we couldn't map anything. But with the help of JSON, we get these mappable things. If I want to map, let's say this thing, I can simply map it. I want to map this thing, I can simply map it. So these becomes individually mappable. Perfect. So what we wanted is, we wanted to get text out of it. And second is, we want to get JSON output, right? Rest everything is fine. Now within JSON output, we can give it a schema in case if you want, or let's say response schema is here. It is asking us, let's say item, what kind of value you want. But I think let's not get into this. It'll unnecessarily confuse you. So for now, I'll just leave it only as JSON output, right? And I can simply say save, right? Now, since we completed two steps, step one, step two, I can try to run this whole thing once and see what kind of output Gemini is going to give me. And if I go back to Google Sheets, see only one thing is there for generate content. Rest everything is just turned off. So I'll go back and I can say run once. Wow, quota increased. Quota decreased. Let me see. Maybe because multiple people trying with the same API key, it says quota exceeded, rate limit exceeded. Let me try with another API key that I established yesterday. Perfect. Output came. So here are the results. And you can see this output result, and the result came like this. Facebook post content. Everyone says performance bike breaks the bank and so on. Now it is available only for 8,999 per month and kind of this. In case of Instagram, the post looks like this. In case of LinkedIn, the post look like this. Obviously, we can add more values, more instructions. It says like link to website. Do we have any website, landing page, a couple of hashtags, and this format can be more optimized. That we are going to do in the next stages. But essentially, see here, how much token it consumed? 1139 tokens in total, which I think would have been costing us hardly 5 paisa, 7 paisa, maybe 2 paisa, not more than that, to generate this entire thing. Right. Then couple of other things over here, content, parts, text, string, not of much use. See here, if at all we haven't given it this JSON format, then what would be the result? Result would come like this. This is Facebook content started from here and ended until this. And then Instagram post content started from here, ending until this. LinkedIn post content. Now it is not mappable to any of these platforms or any of the columns. It will all becomes a cumbersome thing, right? And if we say JSON, it's coming out like this: Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, right? Now, since we generated this content, we'll say, let's store this content into our Google Sheet, right? So let's click on this. I'll say Google Sheets and I will say update a raw. Why update a raw? Because I'm already getting a raw number which is giving me input of the idea. So I say raw number 2 has this idea, and whatever content I generate, I want to update in column B, C, and D of the same line. I don't want to create a new raw at all. Otherwise, this will get a mismatch. So I can come back here and I'll say Google Sheets, update a raw. If I choose this, what it is asking me? A few things. Connection is already done over here. It is asking me choose your spreadsheet ID. or let's say choose your spreadsheet. Now, many people get confused over here. Why? Because they have sheets parked in their respective folders or maybe some sort of nested folder structure. If I click on this, I may not find a sheet directly. What it says, all of these folders are here, right? I have to get into one folder and then I'll have to figure out, okay, there can be a subfolder to it, right? So folder one, then there can be subfolder, then there can be subfolder, and then there is sheet. Instead of this, what I can do, see, there is a called search method. So I said search method by path. By path means I have to follow a path to reach to that particular sheet. Instead, what I can do is I say enter manually. And what to enter manually? This spreadsheet ID itself. So I just remove this part. And when I say enter manually, or there is another option called select from all. Either of these two things can be done. So from all the sheet, if I'm going to give you a sheet ID, grab that particular sheet or focus on that particular sheet. So either of them, let's go with select from all. Here also it's asking me what is your spreadsheet ID, right? Now, if I click on ID Finder, it can ask me file name keywords. I can give it a file name called Master Social Media Automation Content Posting, or I can simply click on OK and it will load me a whole list of all the files. How we did yesterday? The same way. And I can scroll down to letter M, and here it should have master social media stuff. See, this is my file, master social media automation, content and posting. I can choose this. So instead of going through that entire path, which I may not know, or the entire hierarchy, I can simply choose ID Finder and sheet can be listed from the whole list of the sheets, right? Then here it is asking me which sheet name you wanted to update this value. I simply say I have only one single sheet, which is social master log. I chose this. It is asking me which raw number you wanted to update. Now, since this module doesn't know which raw to update, I have to give it a mapping from the first module. So I click on this and see here what happens. The first module mappings are coming like this. It's something called raw number 2. You can simply drag and drop. Now, the key name was raw number and the value is 2. The key is going to always be same, but value can change. So next time if I'm going to process raw number 5, it will automatically map raw number 5 because it's a dynamic mapping based upon a key value pair thing, right? So it is already mapped raw number over here. Then it's asking me table contains headers. It doesn't make any difference for now, but that's fine. And over here, since we selected a sheet, we selected the sub sheet over here, raw number is added. Now it is giving me all the column names, be it A, B, C, D, E, F. And if there is no header, all of these columns will come like G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, and so on, right? Now, in this case, it gives me an option to map values from any of the previous module or any value I can write here. So let's say if I click on the first one, you all know we already had a posting idea entered into our column A. So we don't want to add anything here. If we leave it blank, it will not do anything. It's not going to, let's say, put it blank or something, overwrite. Nothing will happen if we leave it blank as it is. Column B, it says Facebook content idea or this Facebook post content, right? Now, in this case, see what's happening here. For some reason, and this is going to be a very common problem when you try to build automation use cases. When we saw result over here in this Google Gemini module, it was giving us 3 distinct values: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, those contents. But when we're trying to map it, it says result is a collection, right? There is nothing to map as Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. Even if I open this candidate part, maybe this content parts over here, again, this whole thing is coming as a text itself. There is no segregation for the mapping purpose. And this is actually a limitation of this Gemini module itself. It has nothing to do with like make.com as such. We gave it, like we already instructed it, give output into a proper JSON, but still it is giving it on the mapping part, it is giving us those things as a text. So we can't map it. We don't have that segregated text about Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn. So let's put it save for now. Let's save it now. I told you make.com got some really good tools which can make life easy, which can help us to transform or handle some sort of complex data. Right now, what I can do is there is something called JSON parser. Since we are getting output into a JSON format, but that is not parsed. Parse means like you have a whole JSON structure, but the JSON structure is not mappable. I'll try to show you. Make.com has a couple of good tools which you should always be, let's say, thinking about. So one is called JSON parser. See, there's something called tools. Then I showed you yesterday flow control, HTTP webhook. In the similar way, there's something called JSON modules. And this is a JSON, I would say a gold mine, because many times since we are working with JSON things, all the API understand the JSON language or JSON structure. Because of that, this becomes really important. And it got a couple of things: aggregation to JSON, create JSON, parse JSON, transform to JSON, and so on. So here we have something called parse JSON. Now, what this parse JSON does, for example, let me try this way. I can showcase you one of the good actual use case. Okay, by the way, one more thing. When you're building a scenario, in case if you want to test a particular module, I can simply drag this clock icon, this trigger over here. So I can run with this particular thing, right? Somehow this way. Now, if you remember, I shown you yesterday how to write a JSON. So JSON is being written with a curly bracket, start and end. And here I can put a key value. So let's say my key is, let's say name, and I'll put Sandeep, right? For example. Then I can put a comma, another key, let's say city, colon, again two colons, and I'll say Mumbai, right? If I write this kind of a JSON and I say I wanted to make it a parsed value which can be mapped to any other subsequent modules or subsequent, let's say, steps, I simply click save, run it once, and see what happened. It gave me from this whole text, this whole JSON, it gave me these kind of two mappable values. It's called name and city, right? It's getting a little technical. I see your faces, but please try to understand, try to with me. So what this JSON parser does is, if you're getting anything into a JSON structure, it can help you to make it mappable. For example, if I add maybe another Google Sheet, add a raw, something like this, and let me try, or not a Google Sheet. Instead, let's try to choose a set variable module. See, now in this case, I can map Sandeep as a separate name or city as a separate thing, right? These became mappable values from that JSON. That means parse means like you convert the format, transform that into an actual JSON structure, right? So once I write something like this and I use parse JSON, it can convert values to mappable stuff. Now, why we're using it? As I told you, when we tried with this whole Gemini module, we said give us output into this kind of a JSON. Have Facebook content, LinkedIn content, Instagram content, and values should come like this over here. But even though we gave it response meme type as JSON output, it is still not give us as a JSON structured output, right? It is just giving us a whole text, a whole bunch of text over there. So what I can do is I can apply this JSON parser in middle, click on this, and instead of this whole JSON, I can simply map the text coming out from this whole output. This is called, see here, this JSON starting here, and then Facebook post content, everyone says, and so on. And I can say save. Let's remove it. Let's try one more time. If I run this whole thing, let's see what happens. So I got one idea, which is about this Hero Honda bike. Gemini is processing this output. Gemini got us the entire output into this kind of a whole JSON. JSON is starting with this curly braces, key, and the whole value. And then there is a second key, the whole value, and so on. And what this did, it actually converted all of them into separately mappable values, right? So Facebook content, Instagram content, LinkedIn content, right? I'm not going to like optimize it for now. We will just do a basic raw structure and then we'll keep on optimizing this. Now, what I want is once my content is available over here, let me run this once and let's see what happens. So I tried, I actually directly run from there itself. See, the content came one content, two content, three content. All of these three things came here like this. Still, we did not work on image part. It is all happening through only the content portion. So until this, it worked. Okay, Anthony, you want to ask something? Okay, maybe we'll take your question a little later. This I can say rename as content updated in Sheets. And now this module says content updated Sheets. Now, next is we wanted to create an image using Nano Banana, right? So I go ahead and add another module. Again, since it's a Google product, I'll go with Google Gemini AI. Now, someone asked me last time, we should use create an image. So let's go with create an image. Now, what's happening here? My connection is already there. If I click on model, then there are a couple of models available, image 3.0, 4, 4 Ultra, Ultra Fast, and so on. I don't see any nano model over here. There is no Nano Banana. Why? Because somehow either make.com did not consider it as a like image, or they would not have updated over here as an image generation thing, or the Google itself would not have classified it yet as an image generation model. Instead, they have, even if you go into this one, let's say Google AI Studio, right? it still comes as a chat option. And over here within the chat, there is an option called Nano Banana add or something like this, create image and all. So somehow this is not available as part of this model. If I just remove it and I go to Gemini AI again, create a completion. In this case, if I go for models, there are plenty of models available. And along with this, one of them is called at the bottom Nano Banana, right? So they did not pass it into the image generation, but somehow they put it on the creator completion. Maybe someone's mistake, Make or Google or something else. But since we wanted to work with Nano Banana, I'll go with this one, right? Now it is asking me, what's your message? What do you want to get done? So I simply go here. I'll say user role, parts is something I can add, message type is a text. And over here, I can go to my image generation prompt. This whole prompt, I can take it from here until this point. You already know it's fairly straightforward. Copy paste. Then we are going to go ahead and put our input as main content idea or main hook idea is coming from column A, which is the core main Google sheet, right? Like this. So we have the entire image generation prompt, model selected as Nano Banana, user role, text, and everything is being posted with this posting idea. Perfect. Now, apart from this, system instructions, URL context, or maybe something else, we don't want to go with them. Even in this case, since we are generating an image, so we can simply say response modalities is going to be an image, but it is not going to be a JSON format, right? It's simple. An image means image, right? So there is nothing to do with the content structuring as such. So we just leave everything blank as it is, all good, and click save. Now, you may wonder, if I have to run this module only, let's say I want to test whether it is working or not, do I have to run the sequence from here, from start to end, or can I run this module only itself? So the answer is we can just run this one as well. If I right click on this, I say run this module only this one will work instead of running this entire sequence. But there is a catch. Since this module has two type of input, one is a static input in terms of prompt, and second is a dynamic input which is coming from any mapping, right? So in this case, the system will ask me, if right click, run this module only, it is asking me the posting idea is coming from Google Sheet, column A. But since it is not taking value, it's only going to run isolated. It is asking me to put any value over here, right? So I can put anything. Let's say New Year wishes, something like this, right? So instead of taking it from Google Sheet, I'm just putting a hard code thing. I may not put it. That's all fine. So I can escape it completely and I'll say, okay, run that. And it's going to run without any context. But for now, I'll say New Year wishes, click OK. And it will run only this single part, nothing else. Perfect. See, result is empty. It's all fine because we were not expecting any content output. We are expecting an image output. Now, if I click on candidates, I click on parts, content, and see here within content, there is something called parts. Within parts, again, furthermore, inline data. And this inline data, furthermore down, it has this kind of a data, which is not a visual image, but this is how image look like in APIs. See, when images or any file, just try to listen this again very, very attentively. It's one of the fundamentals working with APIs. So when you pass any file through API connection, it does not go as a file. That file gets converted into a binary format, and then that binary format goes and then will, like, wherever the destination is, it's going to reconvert back into a normal file format. So if I go until this down, see here, content, part, inline data, image and PNG data, and then see, this is how your file look like. So it's a whole long string. If I put, let's say it has almost a million character long, right? The string was originally about 1176, 832 character long. And these many character or these many binary stuff will reconvert back to your image wherever it get rendered. So there is no file concept as such. This is the file. And now this file, if we say upload on, for example, on ImageKit or maybe Google Drive and so on, this data has to be passed or this data has to be given to that particular system, right? So this is how files look like, not in a fancy way how you used to see on your screens. Now, what we have to do, we'll have to connect some sort of a platform to decode and upload this entire string and convert that into a file, right? Now, we decided to go with something called ImageKit. Since we have this file data over here, we'll have to convert that back and upload that into ImageKit. So let me show you in a quick minute. If I add another module, I'll say ImageKit, where I wanted to upload this file data, right? So see here, as I type in ImageKit, ImageKit came here, and there are two options. One is called upload server side file, or here it says list and search file. So what we wanted is we wanted to upload file to the server. And if I click on this, it will ask me first, you should add a connection. So I go to this ImageKit, click add connection. It's asking me the private key or the API key, which I can go to ImageKit over here. I can see I already logged in into my ImageKit. I can go to settings. Either it should be available here or maybe developer options. Let me see. Yeah, on the developer options, you get to see keys, and then I can have this private key available from here. So I can simply copy this key, just open it, reveal API key, submit. It's fine. I can copy this, go back to make.com and put that API key over here, something like this, right? So since I already had connection, it's all there, but you can go ahead and put the API key over there. Now, second, it is asking me to put a file name and the file data. Right? So file name, I can give it anything. I can give it, let's say, new image or new image dash. I can give my raw number or anything else, let's say something like this. See, this is also how you can map content into any subsequent modules. You can have half part as your string or maybe some sort of hard coded value, and half part as values coming in from different modules, right? So just keep in mind. Now here it is asking me to map data. So if I click on this data, where I'm going to get data, so it is the data, that whole long string you saw was the data, inline text, and this is the data. But here also we have a small catch, and this is going to increase your capabilities more and more. So this data is coming as this whole long string. But when I say the underlying data, you would have heard about binary, hexadecimal, or those kind of different, let's say, code level stuff, right? How data is being stored into various systems, how data is being transmitted through systems. This thing is called hexadecimal, and it has to be converted into binary, right? So I'm not sure if it is getting too complex, but just try to listen to this carefully for now. So there is a function given inside make.com that is called toBinary. Here it is, toBinary. What it does, it converts, see here, if you see the example as well, if I say toBinary, and if I write a character called internet, it will convert that entire thing into this kind of a whole string, right? So even if I transmit any character, any spelling, any file data through APIs or through these kind of connections, then they all get transmitted into this binary or hexadecimal format instead of the actual file or instead of the actual text. Right? So now whatever we got over here until this point, it was all into a hexadecimal format, and then now we're converting this into a binary format. So I'll say base 64 is something I have to put. Maybe you can just ignore this for now. Just try to see and maybe copy. Later on, once we increase our level, you will have more and more clarity on this. So just forget, don't put extra stress on your mind. But this is how we have to handle things, right? And this is that Sachin Tendulkar ka practice behind the net. So that's not a 2020 ka match, but this is what is happening behind the scene. But yeah, okay, let's do one thing. For now, let's try to rerun this whole thing and let's see what happens with this image part, whether it goes on ImageKit or not. Because sometimes when even I try, it fails. I have to change a couple of things here and there. Okay, it's working, create a completion. Okay, it failed actually. Why it failed? Because missing required value of file data and there is no input. Candidate, part. Okay, earlier there was only one thing coming up. Now there are two things are coming out. One says a text and second is called inline data. And now there is a whole data coming in over here like this. Okay, I'm going to make your life a little more difficult because in this case, see how this content coming out. It says content. Within that, there is an array. An array has two things, two collection. Collection number one, collection number two. This collection has a text coming out which says, here is your image of something, what you asked. And then second collection is actually giving us the image, right? Now, what we have to do, we have to extract this part of data because when I'm trying to map this over here, when I say map this data until this point, what it did, since it's an array format, it is taking actually the text part instead of taking the actual data which is coming in as a file. So what I can do, there are some more better functions given inside make.com. And by the way, let's get a short introduction to functions as well. In case of make.com, This is all about mapping things here and there. But if you have to apply any of these functions to binary or maybe some mathematical calculations, some sort of data handling, text handling, you get to see multiple options over here at this top purple ribbon, right? So if I click on the settings at this kind of gear icon, it has different functions. It's called if function, if empty, switch, omit, pick, and so on, equal to, not equal to, and, or, ignore case, and everything. If you want to work with mathematical functions, click on here. It says math functions, and they all work like this. So if you want to calculate average, you have to put values like this: the start average, and then open bracket, value 1, value 2, value 3 is going to give you average of that. Then ceiling, floor, truncation, min, mode, max, and so on. Even within make, you can't use directly. Let's say if you want to multiply something, you say 2 multiplied 2. It doesn't work like this. You have to use the multiplier given over here. So it should be 2 multiplied 2 like this, right? Not your keyboard things. You have to use their own specific functions right from there. So these are math functions, greater than, less than, and so on. Then there are text functions or binary functions over here, right? So they have length, lower, capitalize, start case, and so on, right? Even if you wanted to put some sort of space, you should use this space, or a new line should be referred from this new line instead of putting just let's say you say hello and then Manish, right? It may not render like this. If you put new line, then it'll say hello, and then there is a new line, and then Manish, right? So this is how it's going to work. So within Make, they got plenty of functions through which we can work or make our life easy. Now, in why I'm telling you this, to handle various data formats, we may use or we may have to use functions like how we use this two binary function. So it's two binary, it's going to convert this entire thing into binary format. But as I shown you here, when we go to this data output, it says content, parts, and there are two parts coming in, part one, part two. By default, it is taking as a text or this first one from this array as an input over here, not this one. So we have to tell it like, please take this option number 2 and then convert that into binary. It's trying to convert this part into binary and it's getting failed. So it's supposed to convert this one. So what I can do is there is a function available inside make that is called get function. I can show you that get function maybe somewhere over here or in the settings. See, this is the get function. Now, what does get do? Get says if there is an array which has multiple bundles, multiple modules, and you want to get something out of it, I can help you to get that particular bundle or that particular value right from your entire array, right? So what I can say get, and let's try to do get 2. Why 2? Because our image is coming as the output number 2 in this entire array, right? I shown you earlier. So if I click, let's say save, and let's try to run once again the entire string. Let's see what happens. This is the actual backend of automation. This is how actually things happens. It may fail because I may have to use a little more complex function, but okay, it failed again. Okay, so I hope you got until this get part. I'm going to get into a little more complex stuff, which is called a map function as well, because I think I have to map this value first, and you can completely ignore that. You can just copy paste that formula for now, because these get map are a little more harder to understand at least, right? So what I can do is if I go back and I'll say a whole lot function, which is starting from mapping a value from an array. So this is the initial part where we getting two things. One is a text portion, second is a image portion. From that, I'll say I wanted to get inline data. See here, it says inline data, and this inline data furthermore has something called data over here. So we want to get this part, right? From this entire in-depth nested array and collection structure. And this is how we have to actually type in this. So inline data is there, out of which I want to get data, this small data over here. And then I say if my inline part, inline data dot meme type, see here, we have this meme type over here. So we'll say if this meme type is equal to image slash png, then only get this whole portion. So what we did, we said from this entire parts, see here we have parts, I wanted to get inline data and this data. If my meme type is equal to image and png, earlier the other meme type was text, right? So I said it should follow like this, right? If it is there, then I want to get something, map this value, and then I want to get that particular value out. By the way, I'm going to take this entire session, like one of the session on specifically on this function part. So no issues on that, no worries about that. And out of this entire thing, now I wanted to map or convert that into binary. So here I'll say to binary, and then I can just type in base 64, right? Something like this. Now let's click save and let's give it one more try. If this function works, it's going to run through. So very much important to understand these kind of functions. Okay, perfect. See here. Now it worked, and what it did inside ImageKit, it gave us a URL of this particular file or this particular image which is getting uploaded. If I go here, open this, see, this is the image generated by Nano Banana for this entire post. Looks fancy, but the backend process what was not fancy at all, right? It was full tedious. So unleash your whatever partnery ride on everyday ride and so on. Test ride available. See, this image is so much accurate in terms of these kind of logo. Even it automatically put in this Hero Honda logo as well. It says 5,000 plus service centers nationwide. Even not a single character, not a single this spelling is wrong. It's all absolutely good, right? Okay, let's move on then. Fine. So let's do this entire thing one more time, right from start to end. And we updated the status as well as the ImageKit link, and we said ready for review. So control the status should change to ready for review. Now let's go back to master sheet. Since we have this content, that's all fine. It may regenerate. Okay. Now it is creating image, uploading on ImageKit, and done. See here. So this post content came. Obviously, this can be improved with more better prompting. It says ready for review, and image came here. Let's open this, unleash your potential, and so on. And it got a little good, better image over here. Nice. And even Hero Honda logo is also being put in here. Let's try one more of that. What is that? Tech Vault Premium Sports Phone Retailer. Let's try this generate content. If I go back, I do a test run. Tech Vault, like this is perfect. See, content came out like this. Image would have been generated. Done. Image also came ready for review. Let's choose this. Wow, not that great, not that bad. All good, decent, perfect. So since we did one part until here, where we generated image, we stored it into ImageKit, and we updated everything back saying, yes, our post is all good to go. Now, on the second level, we want to send this media, send this whole content on various social media platforms. Now, even before this, in case someone wanted to edit any content over here, like someone asked me, can we edit the content which come out from this AI? Can we modify this? The answer is yes. So for example, let's say we just generated this called Tech Wallet Electronics is launching a flagship 5G phone and so on. Couple of things are here. In case it says trade-in offers up to 15,000, I want to make it 25,000, right? In each of these posts. So again, over here also, I made some change, 25,000, and this should also go as 25,000. So any content changes can be made right from here itself, right? You don't have to go back and rerun the automation, just do things. Maybe you want to add a couple of more hashtags. So I'll say mobile phone, another hashtag. That's how you can do addition of your hashtags, and they can come to life within this whole structure itself. Now, the second part is where we wanted to create another scenario, another automation, which is going to grab content from this whole Google Sheet and will put it on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, three platforms, along with this whole image as well. And when this should happen? When I say the content was ready for review, I reviewed it, and I'll say approved and create post. If I change it, this ideally should go ahead and create post on various social media platforms. So that's the trigger point, or that's the qualification point. Now, what I can do is either I can create another automation scenario right from scratch where I go and say in my organization, create a new scenario. Again, search Google Sheet. So I go here, I'll say Google Sheets, search a raw. I'm going to tell you a traditional method like how any like unaware person or any mature person would do. So they say, let's say connection is there. A spreadsheet will be, okay, it's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Master social media. This is here. The sheet name is social master log. And in this case, I can put a filter condition if column F is equal to approved and create post, right? If this is the case, then get that particular raw, that particular line, and I can run the remaining steps. So if I run it now, run once, see what happens. This flagship phone post, right? We made it approved and create post, which is raw number 3. So it is getting me this particular post content, nothing else, nothing apart from this, right? So now I can use it and I can do other steps to complete the whole posting part, right? how that will be done. Let's try to complete it over here into a new scenario, and then I'm going to showcase you how to merge both of them, how to generate some efficiency on this. So as a separate thing, we created everything over here, and now we went here. We said from this entire sheet, if control F column has approved and create post, then only get those specific posts over here. We got to see row number 3, and this is the post status, and that's why we are getting this whole content. Now I say go ahead and post something on Facebook. So I can simply go to Facebook, and within Facebook you get to see multiple applications like this, but there is no Facebook personal profile as such. So in this case, we have to go with Facebook pages. Why not with personal? Because Facebook says it's a social media platform. We expect actual people to be there, not the businesses, not the bot AI and all. So in this case, they allow API only on pages, right? So if I click on this pages, see here, multiple things are coming in. List post, get post reaction, create post with multiple photos, then update a post, delete a post, like, unlike, and so on. Multiple things. Even videos can be played around, photos can be played around, and so on. Even comments can be worked out. So plenty of things are there. Out of that, what we wanted to do is create a photo post or create a post with single photo. We don't have multiple one. So let's choose this one. Mohammed, I'll just unmute you. Arib, give me 1 second. So let's complete this Facebook part. So now over here, it is asking me to add a connection. Now, since I already have a Facebook page, I can go here, let's say to Facebook, and you all know how to create a Facebook page, right? It's fairly straightforward. So once you're into your Facebook profile, there's something called these are pages section. I got one page created, which is called gross tags, and this is the whole page what I have over here, right? Now, since I'm the owner of this page or I have admin rights, it's important you should have admin rights or you should have ownership of that page. So click add onto this, and I can say 7th September FB connection, just a connection name. In case of Facebook, it follows the in session authentication. I click save and see this Facebook thing opened over here. I said continue as Manish, so that's all fine. Then it is automatically taking all my profile information, all the pages what I own, and see here. If I click on pages, the connection established. I got this cross tags as a page on drop down, so I can choose this one. Now it is asking me what is your message you wanted to send in this post, because I'm using create a post. So message, I click here, and you know my message is stored into column B, right? So I can simply drag drop Facebook post content, and here is the Facebook post content coming out like this. Then it is asking us link. Whose link? The image link. So column E has the image link. That's it. In case if you wanted to go with any advanced settings, you can click on advanced setting, link name, link description, date, and so on. If I'm going to put any future date, it will post on that particular future date. See, date is in future when the post is going to be scheduled. So it'll schedule the post automatically. So that's it, what we have to do with Facebook. Just two mappings, the page selection and the connection, and our thing will be done. So this was the basic configuration of Facebook. I can click save, and that's done. Then I can add Instagram. So for example, Instagram is here. Similar to Facebook, Instagram also does not provide API for personal account. It has API for creator account, business account, or professional account only. So if I click on this Instagram for business, see what happens. There are something called insights, get insight, get media insights. Then there's something called media, create a photo post, reel post, carousel post, list media, set public media, and so on. Download media, plenty of things are there, right? Create comment, reply, list stories, and so on. Now, what we wanted to do for now is create a photo post. So I can choose this one. See, by default, this connection is selected from this Facebook module. Why? Because these two services are coming from Meta itself, right? Meta is the same company, parent company for both of them. So same authentication works. And even same page also got selected. The same Instagram account also got selected at the red gross tags, because this Instagram account was connected with this Facebook page as well. So automatically it took both of these things in sync. Now, when I told you earlier, we should not have a Google Drive link. See, sometime what it says, if you look at this carefully, it says photo URL, and now it says photo requirement is this, aspect ratio, max, min, everything. And it says clearly, please note that your image must be hosted on a publicly accessible URL. You cannot use file from Google Drive even if you share them publicly, right? The Instagram API is not able to download files from there, right? So they give you explicit declaration that we are not going to take things from Google Drive. Similar thing happens with OneDrive as well, or even Dropbox as well, right? So that's where these ImageKit kind of platforms are coming in picture. For other similar services, you may need to adjust the URL with the replace function and make it search friendly, raw file link, and so on. So for the file turnaround and workarounds and so on. But essentially, it is not taking files from Google Drive. That's why we haven't used Google Drive over there. So in this case, it is asking us photo URL, right? Instagram is a photo friendly platform. So I can go here and I can straightforward put this image link right from column E, right? And then obviously some caption required. So caption can come from column C, right over here. Now you may notice something. In this case, when we open any module, some of these fields are highlighted, or let's say in bold, as well as they have a strict, and others do not. This does not have, this not, and so on. So whatever highlighted in bold or they have asterisk are the mandatory fields. You should always put value over here. Otherwise, this module is not going to work. And wherever you see this straightforward plain thing, they are not compulsory. They are optional. You can put value, you can skip that. So in case of Instagram, even caption is not mandatory. You can put it, you can ignore, all fine. They again have certain things. You can put up to 30 hashtags, 20 tags, max 222, like 2200 characters, and so on. So a couple of guidelines are already given over here. Same way, user tag you wanted to put, just put the username with @ and then it can tag that particular user in your Instagram post. Location is the physical location from where you're creating this post. So let's say I say I'm creating it from Mumbai or something. I may have to put lat long or those kind of things, right? But essentially, this is a basic configuration with Instagram as well. Just two information required. One is the photo URL, second is the caption. And that is the only thing required to create post on Instagram as well. So I can click save. Now, the last one was LinkedIn. So if I click on here, LinkedIn, let's say LinkedIn. LinkedIn also got multiple things where we have LinkedIn app, LinkedIn lead form, then we have linked some sort of match audiences, conversion API, ad report, campaign management, and so on. So a couple of apps are given from LinkedIn. What we are, let's say, thoughtful about is something called normal LinkedIn app. So if I click on this, in general, if it is created or reviewed by Make, it will have this verified tag. And when you hover it, it says verified apps created or reviewed by make.com, right? So that's how you can rely on them, that they're not going to steal any information, or they are not something which is done by any other community members here and there. Now, one important stuff. See, within make.com, it's an open canvas. When we started, there was nothing, right? So you can play around with any kind of sequence. You may say, okay, Facebook should come first, Instagram should come second, LinkedIn should come third. The sequence can be shuffled, right? But the only thing is the data should be dependent. So these are data dependent things. Something is coming from Google Sheet cannot be put behind. And when you say, okay, I'm starting from LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and then I put Google Sheets, it doesn't make sense, right? Because data should come first inside the automation workflow, and then it is going to be consumed by the subsequent modules. So Sheet should always be first one because it is giving data to all of the remaining modules. Right? So just try to logically think always like from where the process start, step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can build automation things. So over here, it is getting started from Google Sheets, then Facebook pages, then Instagram. Now, these two platforms directly took the image URL, which is available from the ImageKit. But when we go to LinkedIn, what LinkedIn says over here, it got two type of things. Like when it says user section, where it says create user text post, image post, video, or delete user post. Same way, it got covered organizations as well. So in case if you're managing a company page or an organization page, that can controlled by this particular LinkedIn module, create an organization text post, organization image, or organization video post, right? Plus couple of more things can be done. You can get all the posts from a particular organization, delete them, get follower statistics, time-bound follower statistics, and so on. Multiple things are there, right? What we wanted to do for now is we want to create a user post that is to an image kind of post on LinkedIn from a user account. So I can choose this one. And over here, you get to see LinkedIn connection has to be done. So I can click on add. There are two options, OpenID Connect or some sort of LinkedIn. I'll just go with this LinkedIn part. I can give it a name where I say 7th September, Manish M profile, and click save. This is again an in-session authentication. So since I have to log in, and Make is going to automatically capture the login credentials from, or let's say login information from my LinkedIn. See, so now I created connection with my profile. It says 7 September, Manisham. Now over here, both, see, these two platforms earlier to this, they were asking for a file link or that photo link. In case of LinkedIn, it is asking us provide me file, but that too file name and the file data. Right. Since I have only ImageKit URL, I don't have any file, I don't have any file data coming in here. Right. So you can check directly. Now, from where I'm going to get this, and if I don't have, these are mandatory field. You see here, it's asterisk, asterisk. I can't skip them. And even I have to put content as well. So within Make, again, there are some additional modules given. If you remember yesterday, I shown you there is something called HTTP, right? So HTTP got a good module that is called get a file. Let me show you that. Now, in case if you have to give a file to LinkedIn, first you'll have to download file before this LinkedIn module. And in like wherever you wanted to add anything in middle of these two modules or maybe these two, you just have to right click and there is something called add a module, right? So let's click on add a module, and over here you get to see a list of multiple things. Now what happened? See, this placeholder came in middle of these two. So now I can click here and I can run through, let's say what I wanted. So I want HTTP to work for me and get or download a file from a given URL inside make.com. So if I click on HTTP, see the first model is called get a file. And obviously there are plenty more. There's something called make a request. HTTP request can be done right from here itself. So those things are available. But along with this, there's something called get a file. So I can simply choose get file. It says download a file from given URL. And this will also be helpful for you many times when you try to, let's say, build various different kind of automation scenarios. It will be very, very helpful. But for now, let's choose this one. Now, what it is looking for, only one single parameter that is called URL. And we already have a URL with us in column E. So drag and drop and save. That's it, right? Now, this will do its own job to grab the file inside make.com. Now, if I go again into LinkedIn, see what happens. Earlier, it was asking me the file, but since this automation workflow is smart enough itself, what it did, it found that there is a module in the earlier sequence which is getting a file inside make.com. It automatically selected this HTTP get a file. Instead, I would have gone here map and then I can map this file name, file data, which is anyways coming from this HTTP. But this module is smart enough to get this file mapped automatically from this HTTP. Now, what else I have to map is another straightforward thing, which is called content. And content is coming from my first module, which is Google Sheets. That's it. Now, a couple of more settings. I can do visibility set. So who can view my post? Public, only my connection, viewable by logged in members. Main feed distribution. So main feed or none of the feeds. Is reshare enabled or disabled? So I said yes, it's enabled by default and so on. So these are basic settings of LinkedIn as well. And I can say click save. Now, finally, once my whole distribution will be done, I wanted to change this status to posting done right over here. Now let's go back and we have to add another module that is called Google Sheets update raw. And this update raw again we'll have to do search by or select from all, ID finder, leave it blank. Let's go with OK. It's going to give us a whole list, or you can also give it a name and then it can find you a specific file. But for now, I'll just go basic. I'll go down, 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 social media master. Always when you map an ID or something like this toggle you have to turn off. So I'll just toggle off and choose a sheet name, which is here. Raw number is going to come from the first module, drag and drop. And we don't have to update any of these values. Column A, B, C, D, E, they all have their own respective values, including file link and everything. What I have to change is only the control column status, that is called posting done, and click save. If it is giving you an error, let's save one more time and save this automation workflow. Now, if I run it once, see, in this entire case, I have only one single post which says approved and create post. I can go here, run once, and let's see what happens. Okay, Facebook pages, the posting is done. Here we have post ID. Instagram, it's now making a post. Also done on LinkedIn, and everything got updated back over here. See, posting done. Now, if I go to LinkedIn first, let's take a look. Okay, not view profile, post and activity. See here, just now this post came. Tech World Electronics is launching a flagship 5G smartphone collection. This is this. And if you remember, I changed it to 25,000. It was earlier 15,000, right? Same way, this would have gone on the Facebook as well. And obviously on Instagram as well. See, just 1 minute ago, this post came out like this. Again, this 25K and so on. And in case of Instagram, let's go. Perfect. See here, a minute ago, this post came out. So that's how it's fairly straight up where we did this whole two automation, two branches, and both of them worked at their own pace with their own specific settings and everything. Now,